Hey, Nick Hancock here, sub-3 marathoner, competitive ultra runner and USCA and UK athletics certified running coach. And I'm here to tell you about some naughty little lies that are out there in the running world and yeah, just put paid to some of those myths, some of those naughties that are floating around. So, because they could be holding you back. They could be actually making you worse. They could be harming you in some respects. They could just be wasting your time where you could be doing something more productive with your running. Whether you are chasing a marathon PB or you just want to stop feeling broken or like you're wasting your time, then let's put some of these myths in the ground, 6 feet under. So first one, and I see this more than anything, there's a real obsession with mileage, weekly mileage. Because myth number one is that you do not need to be doing 80 to 100 miles a week, training like Eliud Kipchoge or Eilish McColgan to run a sub-3 marathon. You do not. End of story. You need to be training smart, not constantly chasing big numbers. There's a Facebook group that I've been on for a while and I see the posts come up. It's called Sub-3 Marathon, and the amounts of times somebody will ask for some sort of advice and the answer is from a lot of people, not everybody admittedly, but a lot of people, is just run more miles. And that isn't always the answer. Some people don't have more time available to do more mileage, need to train smarter. They've got kids, they've got jobs, you know, they're already trying to squeeze a lot in. And I, just as an N of 1, am living proof that you do not need to be doing that kind of mileage to run a sub-3 marathon, because I've run several sub-3 marathons now and I barely go more than 50, 60 miles a week. I might go up to 70, perhaps 80 on a very rare occasion, but certainly not every week. That's kind of peak weeks. You don't need to be doing 80 to 100 miles a week. You need to be training smarter. You need to be doing your strength training. You need to be fueling your training properly. That's a real revolution that we've seen in particularly these last few years, is actually times are tumbling because yes, there is the super shoe revolution, but also, you know, fueling properly. And I'm going to talk about that in a bit more. So yeah, more isn't always better. It's just more. It isn't always better. So that's myth number one. Myth number two, no pain, no gain. Oh my God, it seems to be back on the rise. I thought we were starting to come out of the no pain, no gain era where, you know, everybody get into the gym and when you're out there on a run, you've got to be working hard and sweating, you know, the whole David Goggins thing. I thought that was on the down, but it seems to be on the rise again. But it is the fast lane to injury and burnout, quite honestly. You are going to start hating running. You're going to start hating exercise if you are hammering yourself all the time. There was almost something cathartic and calming about just going out for an easy run, which we need plenty of that easy running. That is where the foundation of endurance running is built upon. You've got to be doing that easy running. It is not all about go hard or go home mentality. Pain does not equal progress. Consistency will always win the day. So you don't need to be hammering yourself all the time. Being tough is actually being smart and showing up fresh. You know, the more quality that you can get out of the days where you do need to go hard, the better. So no pain, no gain, rubbish. Myth number three, speed work is only for the elites, or it's only for people doing things like 5Ks and 10Ks. Nonsense. First of all, speed training is for everyone and it's going to improve everyone's things like running economy and VO2 max, that kind of stuff, and form, and there's so much that it's going to improve. But it doesn't mean doing 400 meter reps every week until you puke. That's not what it means. It's about learning to shift gears. It's about learning to work in different training zones as well. Yes, there might be some workouts every now and then where you go to see your ancestors, but for the most part, that speed work is doing things like your tempo, where you're doing longer intervals. It might be doing hill work. You know, variety is the spice of life for us runners. Yeah, we need that variety to work in different training zones, and it is going to help you no matter what distance you're doing. And in fact, big principle of my coaching philosophy is get fast. And I work with ultramarathon runners and marathon runners. And in the ultramarathon sphere, what I say to people is, look, if you want to go out and plod your way through an ultramarathon, fine, don't do any speed work, just go out and do some plodding. But if that ultramarathon, for example, was going to maybe take you 20 hours, why would you not want it to take 18 hours? You know, reduce the amount of suffering that you've got whilst you're out there. So get some speed work in during your training, improve your top end speed, improve your ability to be able to run just that little bit faster, because it is going to to help you have a better day. Myth number 4, I'm too old to get fast again. Nonsense. I'm 43 in a couple of months and I am still getting faster. I have just this year done my half marathon PB. I ran a PB at London, 2:50, and really that should have been quite a bit faster than that, but it was too busy, and you can see one of my old videos where I talk about it. But yeah, I'm still getting faster. I am still looking to go for that 2:35, and that's not just me. I work with several people who are heading, to their mid-50s. One chap I coach, he's 54, and he has, this year alone, we've been working together for about a year now, and inside of 2025 he has done his 5k, all-time 5k PB, and he used to run a lot when he was younger. He's done his 5k PB, 10k PB, half marathon PB, and marathon PB. You can get faster, absolutely, with the right approach, knuckling down on your strength training, really managing your time to be able to run and what you do within that time to be able to run. You can do it. It's not all about the youngsters. It really isn't. Myth number 5, running causes injuries. What do you mean by that? So what I mean by that is that injuries are always multifactorial. Yes, running is going to be a factor, and the more of it that you do, the more injury risk you put yourself at. Or if you're running too much intensity, or you're not doing your strength work, there are factors that are very directly related to running. However, a lot of the time when I speak to people they say, I've got a bit of a niggles, come on, or picked up an injury. And yes, that might have happened during a race or a specific run, but 99 times out of 100, it is not that run that did it, and it's not the running itself that has done it. Because when I start to really delve into the details, because I will start asking questions like, okay, so you've picked up a niggle. How are you sleeping? How are you eating? Are you hydrating enough? How is life in terms of stress? How's work? Have you got things going on with family? And 99% of the time, the answers will come from, do you know what? I'm not sleeping very well. I've only been getting 4 or 5 hours a night because, I am awake stressing about work, or I've got a kid that's bottle feeding, or whatever it might be. So, and there are multiple studies that show that reduced sleep puts people at a very significant injury risk. Even one bad night of sleep can put you at a significant injury risk. Also eating. If you're not eating enough to fuel the training that you're doing, then you are putting yourself at risk of injury. Simple as that. And it's why I don't advocate fasted running, particularly for females. It can just totally fuck about with the endocrine system, so don't do it. So yeah, injury is always multifactorial. There's other things that you could think about, like lack of strength, poor form. But when programmed properly, alongside sorting out the basics like your sleep, your nutrition, you're doing your strength work, you're hydrating enough, you're trying to reduce some of life's stresses. Once you're getting all of that right and balancing your running properly, running actually builds resilience. I mean, you hear that thing about, running, it hurts my knees, or running is bad for your knees. No, it isn't actually. Studies have shown that running is better for your knees. Our bodies are built for movement. It's not going to break you. Myth number 6, you need to replace your shoes every 300 miles. I actually had this conversation with one of my athletes yesterday, one of my new athletes. She was saying, my Strava is telling me that I've done 300 miles in my current pair of shoes. What do you recommend? I said, well, I would recommend actually, are you having any problems with those shoes? Are they actually fucked? Are they showing clear signs of wear and tear? Do you feel like there's a problem with them? And her answer was no. I said, well, no, you probably don't need a new pair of shoes at the moment. I mean, I do always recommend a shoe rotation, and I have done a video on that about shoe rotation. I have a lot of shoes myself, 30 something pairs in the cupboard just behind the camera here. But I run a lot, first of all, and have done for a long time now. So some of these shoes that I'm wearing, years and years old. In fact, this is a pair of Nike Pegasus 38. This year they are on Nike Pegasus 42, so this is 4 or 5 versions ago. I still run in these. The reason they're on the floor there is because I ran in them yesterday. I reckon they have done well over 1,000 miles in that pair, and they are solid. There's still loads of life in them. There's no issues with the foam. And they're a bit dirty, granted, and they're a little bit worn on the tread just there. That is just one example of a pair of shoes that has gone way over the 300-mile limit. The shoe companies will have us believe. I mean, they love it, right? Shoe companies love that one because they're going to make more money. Do I think they say it because of that reason? No, I don't. I do get there was a time where shoes probably did wear out a bit better, but you know, the foams, certainly the outer soles, the rubbers have gotten much better over the years. And you know, some shoes will hold well over 500 miles. And okay, there will be some that will die at 200 miles, and I have had some. There's a few brands. I'm looking at a pair of Hoka right now. They seem to just die after a very short period of time. But there are so many different things that contribute to, you know, shoe wear and tear. But I would always come back to, are you having problems with those shoes? Do you feel like they've changed from when you first got them, negatively changed? And then that's probably an indicator, then yeah, maybe you should get a new pair. But don't just get them because Strava pings up saying you've done 300. Myth number 8, the Norwegian method 4x4 workout will improve your VO2 max by 15%. Now I am actually picking on a particular influencer who posted this a couple of years ago now, and there was so much misinformation in that particular video. Jeremy Miller, I'm going to call you out, sunshine. Yeah, I think his video said this workout will improve your VO2 max by 15%, and then he fucking reposted it the other day. Sausage, it is not going to improve your VO2 max by 15%. That one workout is not going to do that. Oh my God, if it did, every running coach, every elite athlete in the world would just be doing that workout, and we'd have people running 1.5 hour marathons, because that is an insane. It is not a magic bullet. VO2 max improvements do plateau. Quite frankly, you're not an untrained lab subject. If you're a beginner runner, you are going to improve your VO2 max by quite a bit, but not through one workout. There are no hero workouts. There are different things that we need to be doing at different times, but there are no hero workouts. There is no one workout that is going to make or break your race that you've got coming up. And I don't care what anybody says. Yeah, there's some awesome workouts that we want to put in certain places, but no one workout will improve your VO2 max by 15%. And finally, I might be biased with this final myth, but when I hear people say that they can't afford a coach or coaching is expensive, what is expensive is wasting your time on bad training, picking plans off the internet that just weren't made for you. No matter how fancy the spreadsheet that you've got off the internet looks, no matter what app you're using, it is not going to be built for you. Any good coach is going to work with you as a human. And actually, I spend a lot of my time saving people some money, not costing them money. You know, for example, the amount of times I get asked about, oh, you know, what about this pair of super shoes? You know, shall I get those? And okay, if somebody's got cash to burn and they just want to get a pair of super shoes because they fancy getting them, fine. But in the context of, oh, Nick, gonna get this pair of super shoes. I've been saving up all year for them, or that's gonna blow my running monthly budget, £250, $300 for a pair of super shoes, that is not going to markedly improve your race times. Okay, they help, they're great to running, but if you've already got a pair, you don't need to buy another pair because the marketing said that it's going to improve your running economy by 3%. Invest in coaching. It is not a cost, it is an investment. Just for my own personal running, I improved massively through having coaching, because I always say, yes, running is a solo sport, but it's a team game. You are going to benefit from working with somebody. It doesn't have to be me. If you're watching this and you want to work with me, great, fantastic. Reach out to me, let's have a chat. But coach, there's some great coaches out there. I'm even happy to recommend some. But it is not a cost, it's an investment. It is the number one thing that is going to improve your running more than anyone else, more than the fancy tech, more than the shoes, more than the kit, more than this, that, and the other. There's people out there that are like dropping 1,500 quid, $2,000 on infrared saunas. And okay, fine, again, if you've got the cash to burn, brilliant. But then don't say, oh, no, I'm not gonna have a coach, that's too expensive. Because that is the number one investment that you should be making in your running. Work with somebody. That other pair of eyes on your training is going to help you more than anything. And with that, let me know in the comments, which myth have you believed before? Is there something I've missed? Please do tell me. Let me know your questions. And also don't forget to hit like, subscribe, share maybe, and I'll see you in the next video. Thank you very much for watching.